Well, good afternoon, folks, and welcome back to the farm. Last time I talked to you, I said, well, we'll see you tomorrow. Well, and then Sunday came and Monday came, and here we are. It's Tuesday evening, and it's the first I'm getting to chat to you. Reason for that is because we had to run off to Edmonton, to the big old city, for a couple of days. Carmen had an ultrasound appointment at the Royal Alex there. Went, got baby all checked out. Everything's fantastic. Rush back home, and then back to work, back to the grind. So last night was late. We got home. It was after dark. Did the flight of the bumblebee around the yard. Made sure everybody got all fed up. I'm just gonna do some double checks. Make sure I didn't miss anything yesterday. But anyways, on today's episode of Hoarders Gone Wild, I did stop at Princess Auto on my way home from work today and picked up a new motor for you can see it way over there by the dumpster, the Rototiller. Now, you're probably wondering why I've talked about this before. Well, we're no-till, right? What do we need a rototiller for if we're going no-till? Well, I will say there's certain times a tiller is required. And one of those reasons, if you're dealing with, some really hard clay soil that doesn't have a lot of biology, it's just straight mineral soil and nothing but weeds will grow in it, and you're looking to introduce some biology, well, a great way to do that and to inject that is to actually till a little bit in. There's still a little bit of tilling that's required. But once you get that biology growing and you've got, some actual activity, then that thing can park. So last year I was using that over beside the house. We were working on Carmen's rock garden, and you could shovel as much as you want, but a pickaxe just wasn't even doing it. So I fired up the old tiller, and that thing was just bouncing and bouncing and bouncing on top of this rock hard clay. I wasn't making much headway, and eventually I rammed a piston through the side of the block. So I've had that thing parked there now since there, and I've been contemplating loading up in the horse trailer or the back of my pickup and hauling it out to the landfill and taking it to the dump, but I'm not one much for that. So when I was at Princess Auto today, I seen these motors sitting there, and I was like, holy man, this thing is $59.99, $60. Now, regularly a motor like that is usually about $200 to $300. So I thought, well, that's bizarre. Maybe the price is wrong. I'm not really sure. But I run up to the till, got, big old motor under my arm, run up to the till. She scans it through, $188. And I thought, oh boy, fears confirmed. The price tag is wrong. And I was like, no, that can't be. It's clearly labeled at $59.99. So she scurried over there and checked it. Sure enough, yeah, it's $59.99. So start the car, it's like the old IKEA commercials, right? Start the car. We got to get out of here. So I brought my motor home. That'll be my project for this winter, is to try and get that motor stripped off of there, off the old rototiller. Get that one put on. Hopefully it fits. Otherwise, well, I shouldn't have no problem selling a $200 motor that I bought for $60. But nevertheless, I hope it fits. I hope it's not a wasted venture. And then next spring, hopefully I don't need it, but you never know. It'd be better to have it and not need it than not need it and have it. I guess that doesn't make any sense. It's better to have it and not need it than not have it and need it. You get what I mean. Anyways, I got to run, quickly feed the sheep here, check on the chickens. The chickens have been in quarantine for a couple of weeks. Not technically quarantine, but we haven't been collecting the eggs. I dewormed the chickens a couple of weeks back, and now we're good to go. We'll start collecting them again. And I don't know, they probably, because I didn't collect them over the weekend while we were gone, so there's probably like 5 dozen eggs in the chicken house I gotta go get. But speaking of being prepared, I stopped at the Mart today, and not so much because I really needed anything, but because I was at Princess Auto anyways. I was right next door, so it's always good to go in there, see what's on sale. Maybe I'll find something I need. And I did find, actually, was another kill cone, a large kill cone. I have a medium one already, and last year you couldn't find them. And as soon as I walked into Mart, I could see right away there's something wrong with this picture. And I couldn't put my finger on it right away, but I was just like, man, there's an awful lot of stuff in the front of the store. Like right when you first come in, it looks like everything's full, but then you look back to the back where there's things like, the farmers actually need, parts, medicines, feed, stuff like that. Probably down to, well, in many cases, completely empty shelves. The shelves that did have stuff on it, I would say probably 15 to 20% of what they would hold. Really, really concerning. So I did find that kill cone, and I took that home, and I thought, boy, oh boy, if you're in a situation where you rely on a store like that to get you the supplies you need to get, to get by, to survive, I wouldn't rush out and panic buy right now, but make a list. Make a list of things you need and prioritize getting that stuff, because times are going to get tough here. So we didn't run to the city just for the doctor's appointment. Actually, we kind of killed two birds with one stone. Got to visit with my eldest daughter. She lives in Leduc, just outside Edmonton. So that was good. Hadn't seen her in a while. And thought, well, while we're going down there, why don't we just pack her up some groceries? So we were able to bring her like 50 pounds of meat grown right here on the farm, about 25, 30 pounds vegetables, some canning, and got her set up for a little while. Keep her at the grocery store, keep her off of processed foods. And that's one of the things that really makes this lifestyle very rewarding, is not only being able to have that, I guess, nutrient-dense food, the lifestyle, all that stuff ourselves, but to be able to share it with friends and family as well. Anyways, here's the part of the video where I'm going to ask for your participation. So recently I was looking up meat grinders and sausage stuffers and things of that nature, as you do, because we just had some pigs processed. I know we're going to have some sheep to process here later. And in years past, I've always kind of really wanted to do this, is make my own hamburger patties and make my own sausage. And, fear and common sense, I guess, kind of kept the guy at bay from doing that. But now that common sense is kind of, really starting to seep through, and realizing I can actually do this quite easily. If I do small batches and figure out a recipe, I won't ruin 50 pounds of meat. And if I do ruin 50 pounds of meat, well, I'll just give it away, and everybody will be too nice to tell me how terrible it is. But so on the search now, anyways, for a good meat grinder. Now I seen the other day one for the front mount of a KitchenAid kitchen mixer. We have a KitchenAid, and I thought, well, that might be a solution. So I put it out there on a couple of homesteading pages today, and some folks were like, "Oh, that's absolutely amazing," and some other folks were like, "Don't waste your time, don't waste your money. It's good for small batches, but it's really not good if you want to do, 50 pounds or a sizable amount at a time." And that's the reality. Is, we've got 2.5 pigs in the freezer right now, and I'm probably gonna, not these ones, but put two sheep of our own in the freezer this winter, and really want to make some lamb breakfast sausage and some lamb burgers. And so on the hunt for a good reputable and, I guess, durable meat grinder. So what am I asking you guys? I'm asking you, let me know, what have you got? What would you recommend? What would you stay away from? And what's the best value for money? Because obviously the price does have to come a little bit into play with it, right? You can't just keep forking out money, and eventually it's going to be worthwhile just going to the store if it costs too much. I will say though, these lambs aren't going to go to butcher. These are breeding ewes, and I got two batches. One batch is right here with one ram, and the other batch is on the other side of the shop with the other ram. But I think this group here is going to do better, because they get a hot breakfast every morning and a hot supper every evening. Because the dogs come here and they'll scratch a little bit of hay down, and they'll make a nice warm bed for them, and then I'll come and kick them off of there and feed it to the sheep. So they always get a hot meal. Maybe that's the difference. Who knows? The other thing I thought was interesting, not in a good way, but you still can't get oyster shell. So I had to buy this calcium carbonate, 38% calcium for the chickens, so that you get enough calcium to lay eggs. I guess they'll still lay eggs, but they'll have really, really thin shells. We want to have them to have good, healthy shells. So if you're not saving your eggshells, you might want to start doing that as well. So what you can do with your eggshells, so that your laying hens don't start eating their own eggs and get some bad habits, is take the eggshells, crush them up nice and fine, let them dry out. Some people will even put them in the oven and I guess give them a light roast, and it just kind of changes the flavor a little bit and puts them off of eating their own eggs. But you know what, if you can save a few, it's probably worthwhile doing, especially since things like oyster shell are so hard to come by right now. So it's getting a little chilly out here now. My phone's about to die because it's almost -20 out. Pretty doggone cold. The phone's electronics are just not built for the cold, much like myself. So I think it's time for a cup of tea. So I'll let you go for now. I hope you have a fantastic evening, and I will see you tomorrow.